What is a co-sale right is if you have put your 20, you're in a need of further equity, or you want to divest 20% of your fund, your own holding, you go to a third party, and first you are required to give a notice to the investor. ROFO right is not exercised. Now investor now wants to tag along with you in his equity sale. So basically what it means is a co-sale right means when you are selling your equity, you are also obligated to sell his 20% equity, and in case the buyer is not willing to buy block of 40%, your equity sale will also not consummate. So it's again a situation where not only he's blocking you, he's also forcing himself to be bound by you. And so if you're giving him a co-sale right, what you need to give them is that the buyer will have an option to buy your equity, but if the buyer refuses, then your equity sale should not be stopped. So these are the little things that you need to be a little careful when you are negotiating a co-sale right. Drag along right again is that when let's reverse the situation. Now the investor is selling his 30% equity. You don't have the funds to buy his equity, and he has gone to a third party and he's buying his shares. At that point, a drag along right would mean that he has an ability to drag you along with him for sale of 30% equity of out of your 70% block. So are you ready and are you willing to do that? That's a decision that maybe you're willing to do it right now when the company is a 1 crore odd company, but when 5 years down the line the company is doing 30 crores of business and that valuation is not what you want to sell at, or maybe you want to hold on to your own company because that's your baby and you have created that company. Drag along right could be definitely a difficult situation for you, and definitely not in your kind of, this clause should not be part of your shareholders agreement. One of the basic part which will be a connecting and auxiliary part of your main investment agreement would be what are the indemnifications that you're willing to give to them, and what are the non-compete and non-solicitation clauses that you're agreeing. Now non-compete is something that they will ask you. Suppose, let's take an example, if you're in an IT-enabled services company, they would ask you to give a non-compete commitment that you will not compete in the business of the company for next 3 years. Now that sounds strange because your entire life has been spent in doing BPO business. You're an IT-enabled company. That's the business that you've understood and that's the business that you know. And your experience is counting up on that business. But there is a non-compete which requires you not to compete in a BPO business, which is what you have understood for all your life. Now, the non-compete obligations, if they are rational and reasonable and not against public policy, are enforceable to an extent as long as they are reasonable. So if there is a non-compete of 3 years or 5 years, obviously that's not going to happen because nobody, it's a restraint of trade, so nobody will enforce that non-compete. But if you have entered into a 1 year or 6 months non-compete, if you've agreed for it, then be sure that you comply with it because there could be liabilities and damages associated with non-compliance. So first issue would be not agreeing to a non-compete. If you agree to it, please ensure that you have restrained the period to a maximum of 6 months or 1 year so that you are not obligated in the future after 5 years not to get into a similar business going forward. Similarly, non-solicitation basically means not tapping on the same clients, not tapping on the same employees as the employees of the company or the clients of the company. It is again an enforceable covenant, enforceable under law, so therefore the period of restraint should not be more than 6 months or 7 months or 8 months, but typically investor requirement starts from 2 years and onwards. So it's another clause that you need to be negotiating carefully.